Hello, I'm Gladys Jeanette with Spanish Fork News, and today we're talking about safety. It is summertime, so kids are ready to hit the outdoors. Some of them prefer to stay inside, but whatever you do, make sure the safety is your first priority this summer. Joining us today, we have Lieutenant Steve Adams, who is going to talk to us about some of the cases in Spanish Fork, some of the accidents that have happened here. And also, I wanted to mention that in the state of Utah, there have been about 8 cases of drownings statewide. 2 of those have happened close to home. 2-year-old Vincent Larson fell into the Starvation Creek on May 28 and died the following day. On June 7th, the 13-year-old Darwin Ellison was found in the Provo River, and he was also dead. Not too long ago, on the 29th of June, Kaylin Franco, 17-year-old, was also swimming in the reservoir, Deer Creek Reservoir, and he cramped up, his leg cramped up, and he fell into the water and died. So we have some issues here, and that is why we are talking to Lieutenant Adams today, for him to tell us what happened, what can we do to avoid these accidents, and also what can parents do to be able to be more aware of what's going on with our lakes and rivers as the spring snowfall came up pretty late this year. Lieutenant Adams, tell us a little bit about what have you been dealing with this summer. I mean, you've been really busy this summer with all of these drownings and, cases. People, we had 2 kids who actually fell into the swimming pool also, and I don't think they died, but, they were in critical conditions. So tell us a little bit about these accidents.
That's right. It's actually the Spanish Fork Reservoir, not necessarily the swimming pool, but the reservoir. They were, the 2 gentlemen that fell in were in late 20s, early 30s. And one individual was walking along the bank of the reservoir, the cement side of the reservoir, and saw a fish that he thought that he could catch with his hands. So he bent down to catch that fish and fell into the reservoir. He couldn't swim, and so because of his inability to swim, he was panicking and seeking help from others. His friend who was with him, also in the same age group, tried to help him, pull him from the reservoir on this slippery slope on the side of the reservoir. He fell in, and as he fell in, he actually hit his head and could not swim. Never been taught to swim, I guess, as a youth. And so both of them were in the water, drowning. A third person in their group, a third friend, came to their rescue, hollered for other patrons at the reservoir to come and help. That's a place where people swim and fish and just hang out and recreate. So other people that were there came to the 2's rescue, pulled them from the water, and actually had to do CPR on both individuals. So it's my understanding that one of those 2 was rescued after being under the water at least 2 feet deep. 2 feet underwater, not the depth of the reservoir at its deepest point is about 22 feet. So he was at least 2 feet under his head is under the water. Pulled both of those guys out. They performed CPR, called 911. Individuals from the police department responded. We had our neighboring ambulances, neighboring city ambulances come and tried to help out, and even Life Flight flew in. We had one of the individuals transported to Utah Valley Regional Medical Center by ambulance, and one by Life Flight. And luckily, both of those individuals survived and are doing well at this point. But they didn't understand the slippery slope on the cement embankment, and they didn't understand their ability, or didn't recognize their inability to swim might cause them some problems if they slipped into the water.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what can parents do when they go to the swimming pool or the reservoir here is really nice, and I know that a lot of kids go there with their parents for a picnic, for any type of activity. So what can they do to avoid those type of accidents?
A parent always wants to be vigilant, and we shouldn't try to, some of these other events that's happened this year, the drownings that's happened this year, and we don't want to put or point blame to these parents, because I'm sure that they, in their mind's eye, they could probably go back and say, I wish I would have, I wish I could have, I wish I did something different. But we do also, in the same vein, want to tell people to be vigilant, to always keep an eye on your children, to always have your children in a buddy system like they teach us in the scouting program. Always have a buddy when you're swimming. Always have someone else there that can help you if you need to be helped. So we want parents to always be vigilant, understanding that accidents do happen, but be as vigilant as possible, and if you're out swimming with your friends, do it with your buddy.
And there is one thing about the cold water. It's something that people don't really think about this late in the summer. We're in July, and you will think that the water is just perfect for swimming.
That's right.
But just like what happened at the Deer Creek Reservoir,
Right.
the water was only 55 degrees,
Right.
and so he started cramping,
Right.
and then he drowned.
Right.
So do we have that type of problem here
We do.
also?
Actually, the reservoir itself is, during this near drowning, and at other times it's been measured in the 50s, low 50s, high 40s. And so at that temperature, your body cramps up, and then you can't get the blood going where it needs to go, and so your muscles cramp up, and you can't swim. We had a friend that was swimming with us in Starvation Reservoir last year, and he cramped up. And were it not for two other people that were in the group, he would have been one of these statistics. He would have died. So, having the buddy system, having the appropriate gear with you, and recognizing the limitations and the temperature of your surroundings is going to save lives.
Thank you. Another increasing alarm in our community is the increasing accidents at home with children falling off windows. And there have been at least two that I can think of in Spanish Fork. However, I can think of little Slater Holt, who is 5 years old, and he fell off the window, went to the emergency room at the Primary Children's Hospital.
Right.
And so what can you tell us about that, and how can we avoid or safeguard our homes so that our kids don't go through that?
This young boy at 5 years old was at home with his older brothers, 8 and 12, I believe. So they're totally okay as far as being under the right supervision. He was in the second floor of the home, and you know how in the summer months, second floors of homes usually are hot. So we open up the windows to ventilate those. It appeared that this young man was standing on a platform next to an open window and either fell or pushed against the screen in that window and fell out to the cement surface of a 20-foot fall. When that happened, he had a neighbor who was a police officer who was just, I believe, just coming home from work or just coming home from some other area, and assisted him with the family. His mother came home shortly after that, when our ambulance came and assisted him. Like you mentioned, he was taken up to Primary Children's Hospital, and as far as we know, he's getting better now, but it's been a hard road to hoe for him. It's been a struggle. But going back on what his particular circumstances, again, not to point fingers at different individuals on what they could have done or should have done, but homes that have windows that are open on second floors or second stories, there is some decorative ironwork that you can put outside those windows to prevent people from falling out, prevent those accidents. Don't put chairs or things to stand on in front of those windows where children might stand up to get a better view and lean out to look out, or to holler at someone outside, where they might push against the screen and have it break loose and have them fall out the window. Those are a few things that would help in a situation like that.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Adams. I know that sometimes I don't even think about, the windows being open, and it's so hot that you just want the air to be able to come in and out. And I've heard that the minimum is 3 inches that you can have your window open, 3.5 inches, and that's about it. That's the same.
Yeah, if you look at how a crib is designed, the slats in a crib, those are OSHA approved openings, and you can guess. Well, I don't want my infant child to somehow get out the window. Look at your crib, and about that same amount of space. Leave your windows closed about that same amount as well.
Right. Well, we really appreciate your time, and thank you.
You're welcome.
And for all your safety tips also on how to keep our kids safe. And I am Gladys Jeanette reporting for Spanish Fork News.